Super fanboy guy. Do, 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 do.
No place to hide, no place to run, no place to run. The mutant age has now begun. X-Men, X-Men, this is the day, this is the day. X-Men, X-Men, coming your way.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and this is Super Fanboy Guy, bringing you another Versus System deck profile video. In this video, we're going to talk about a very popular deck that has been around probably since the very beginning of Versus System, when the game was kind of, in my opinion, the peak at when it hit competitive play. And the deck that I'm going to show you today is the deck that is called the X Mental deck. Now, what the X Mental deck is, well, maybe I should start by giving a little history about the deck, history that I personally had with the deck. So when I started playing Versus System back from 2004 to I think it was actually 2004 or 2005, I wanted to play X-Men very badly. And the first X-Men deck that I ever made for this game was kind of a janky X-Men deck. And if you want to see that, I do have the deck profile video I kind of did on that deck. And I'll put a link in the description of this video so you guys can take a look at it in case you didn't see it yet. But I always thought that the X Mental deck was probably one of the more competitive decks for Versus System. Pretty much what the X Mental deck is certain cards have what's called the mutant trait characteristic. And there were three types. There was mutant physical, energy, and mental. So the mental cards in the deck are, well, actually, I guess I should say that all the characters in this deck are going to have the mental trait, and I will put in the video to show you an example of the card and where the mutant trait can be found. But it was a really fun deck. The mutant mental characters in the X-Men set had a lot of kind of cool tricks. They had a lot of cards that, you could, for an example, you can negate plot twist if you controlled a mental defender, or, negate a target effect targeting a mental character you control. And then there was also certain cards in the deck that, you discard a mental card and you get to draw 2 cards. And as we continue with this deck profile video, I'm going to show some of the cards that do that. But I actually knew about the X Mental deck for a while, since I think it was first created in the X-Men set. That's where it became kind of popular and well known. And then what I decided to do, I actually made this deck myself earlier this year in 2021. I think it was about a month ago or a month and a half ago, something like that. But I've been playing the deck for that long, and I've just been having such a great time with it. It's a really fun deck. People have had put their own twists on the deck for several different years, but I decided to make my own and, put my own kind of spin on the archetype. X-Men was really probably the first team that really got me in the comic books. I always liked Wolverine and Nightcrawler were always my favorite characters. And I was a big fan of the X-Men animated series. It really opened my world to, comic book cartoons. That was very a monumental series for me, and it's still a series I watch to this day. It's still great, and yeah, just an awesome cartoon show. So I'm sure a lot of other people feel the same way as well. But enough babbling. I'm just gonna go ahead and jump into the deck profile. So as you know, with my other deck profile videos, I kind of go over all the cards in the deck. I will briefly talk about some of the strategies of the deck, and that will be it. So we're just going to go ahead and get started with it. Okay, so we're going to jump into the deck profile. Actually, before I begin, I've done this in my last 2 deck profile videos, but I'm letting everybody know that the interface that I'm using right here, it's called Octagon or OCTGN. It's a software that, you can download image files of card games and play discontinued card games, or even imprint card games like Magic the Gathering on here. So I'm just kind of showing the interface, and so far people have liked the way that I've been doing it. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to start things off with our character cards, and our first character card is going to be Destiny Freedom Force. She is a Brotherhood 2-cost character, 3/1. Her effect, discard a mental card. Target attacker or defender gets -3 defense this attack. Uses power only once per turn. And then she also has a boost effect. When Destiny comes into play, draw 2 cards. And I also want to note that all the characters in this deck, and I think I've mentioned this already, they have the mutant trait, which is located right here. So I'm not going to say, oh, she's a mutant and has mental, because all the characters in the deck have it. So I'm just going to make that little note now for future reference, so that just that everybody knows. Our next character is going to be Sage Tessa. She is a Hellfire Club 2-cost character. She is 3 attack, 2 defense. She has concealed optional. Her effect is discard a mental card, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Uses power only once per turn. Next, we have 4 copies of Tarot Hellion. She is a Hellfire Club 3-cost character, a 5/4. She has the reservist ability. At the start of the combat phase, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a mental card, put it into your hand. And then moving on to our next character is Psylocke Armored Empath. She is a X-Men 4-cost character. She has range and 8/7, and her effect is discard a mental card, negate target effect from a non-ongoing plot twist, uses power only once per turn, and only if a mental character you control is attacking or defending. Now, this character right here is probably one of the signature cards of the deck. You know, a lot of people use this card in their X Mental builds. I can't imagine a deck that doesn't run Professor X Headmaster. He is a X-Men 4-cost character card, has range, a 7/8, pays 0 endurance. I should say his effect is pays 0 endurance. Draw a card, uses power only during the recovery phase, and he has a leader ability. Characters adjacent to Professor X have the X-Men team affiliation. Moving forward with our next character is probably one of the best looking foil cards in this versus system TCG, and that is Emma Frost, Friend or Foe. So this is the actual foil version of the card, but if you guys have a chance to actually look at the foiling of this card, it is beautiful. But anyway, Emma Frost, Friend or Foe. She is a X-Men 5-cost character. She has range, a 9/9. Recruit Emma Frost only if you control a mental character. Discard a mental card. Turn target face-up resource you control face down. Uses power only once per turn. Our next character card is going to be 4 copies of Jean Grey Red. She is a X-Men 6-cost character. She has flight and range, a 12/12, and her ability is discard a mental card, replace any number of face-up resources you control. Uses power only once per turn. Now, this next card is definitely not a card you need in the deck, but again, as I mentioned earlier, this is kind of my own take on X-Mental, and I've always loved the artwork on this card. But Emma Frost White Queen is just, you can replace this with any card in the deck. I just like adding it because it's the extra mental card, and I never play her, but she's usually used for discard fodder. But anyway, Emma Frost White Queen, she is a 7-cost Hellfire Club character. She has range. She's a 16/15. She has reservist concealed optional. Um, she has the leader trait, and she has an ability, pay 1 endurance. Move a character adjacent to Emma Frost to your hidden or visible area. Uses power only during the combat phase. And the next character we have is Exodus Acolyte. He is a 7-cost Brotherhood character. He has flight and range. He's a 16/16. He has the reservist characteristic. He has leader. Whenever a character adjacent to Exodus attacks or defends, you may replace a resource with the same name as that adjacent character. If you do, that character has invulnerability this attack. Now, he's definitely not the best 7-drop ever printed, but he is a 7-cost mental character card. So that's really the reason why I use him. So you could definitely replace him for, if you want to be more competitive, the 7-drop Aquaman from Justice League, I believe, would be a good replacement for him. But I was trying to keep all of the characters mental, have them have the mutant mental trait. So that's why I decided to play him, and we play 2 copies of him. Next, we play 2 copies of Rachel Summers, Phoenix, Phoenix of the Future. She is a X-Men ACOS character. She has flight and range, a 1921. She has reservists, and your opponents cannot play plot twist while you control another mental character. And we do have a lot of mental characters in the deck. Actually, every single one of our characters has the mental trait, and she is actually going to be the last character card in our deck. And I've gotten her off about maybe once or twice, but yeah, a pretty useful card, I would say. And now we're going to go into our plot twist cards. And our first plot twist is Psychic Armor. It's a 1 threshold plot twist card. Target character has flight and range this turn and gets +2 defense while attacking this turn. Psychic Armor has the mental trait in your hand, deck, and KO pile. I have never played this card for the plot twist effect. I normally use it to discard for like Sage, or use it for Emma Frost too. Next, we have 4 copies of Homo Superior. It is a 1 threshold plot twist. Target mutant attacker you control gets +2 attack this attack, and an additional +2 this attack if a non-mutant character is defending. I thought putting this card in place of Savage Beatdown would be more effective, because Savage Beatdown is a 4 threshold cost card, whereas this is only 1 threshold. So that's why I decided to play this over Savage Beatdown. But some people may choose to do Savage Beatdown instead. From the other deck lists that I've seen that people made with X Mental, they play Savage Beatdown over this. But I just decided to do this because all my characters had the mutant trait. So yeah, that is Homo Superior. Next, we play 2 copies of Mutant Massacre. It is a 2 threshold plot twist. As an additional cost to play Mutant Massacre, exhaust a mutant you control. Remove target stun character from the game. Ongoing, your opponents cannot recruit non-army character cards with the same name and version of the character you removed. The next plot twist we have is Mental Domination, which we play 3 copies of. It is a 2 threshold cost plot twist. Play Mental Domination only if you control a mental defender. Choose one. Target attacker gets -3 defense this attack, or negate target effect from a non-ongoing plot twist. One thing that I really like about this card, it's very versatile. You can choose to give a -3 defense to stun back the character, or you can simply negate a plot twist that, comes into that, or a pesky plot twist that they play on you that you can just negate. So that's why I play 3 copies of this card in the deck. Next, we have 4 copies of Turnabout, a 2 threshold plot twist card. Target X-Men character you control gets +3 attack and +3 defense this turn while attacking a character with greater cost or defending against a character with greater cost. And this next card is one of the signature cards for X-Men, in my opinion anyway, and that is BAMF. It's a 3 threshold plot twist. X-Men characters you control cannot be stunned while attacking this turn. Next, we play 3 copies of Psychic Struggle. Play Psychic Struggle only if you control a mental character. Negate target a plot twist or location effect targeting a character you control. Next, we have 4 copies of Phoenix Rising. As an additional cost to play Phoenix Rising, remove a character card in your KO pile from the game. Recover target stun X-Men character you control if its name is the same as that of the card you removed. And the last card in the deck is going to be 4 copies of Enemy of My Enemy. Now, this is a card that I've shown on many deck profile videos. It's been on my podcast, The Golden Guardians. And I'm just going to probably say this for the 100th time. As an additional cost to play Enemy of My Enemy, discard a character card. Search your deck for an affiliated character card that doesn't share a printed affiliation with the card you discarded. Reveal that card, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. Now, another reason why I do play the 7-drop Emma Frost is to discard her for Enemy of My Enemy, so that I can get either a Brotherhood or X-Men character, depending on what turn I'm on. So Enemy of My Enemy has always been a great staple card in all decks, and we are going to put it in this deck. And that concludes the deck profile version of this video. So now I'm going to kind of talk about some of the strategies that you can do with the deck that I think could give you, that puts this deck on top of a bunch of, well, maybe that's not a good way to say it. I'm going to give you some strategies that make the deck unique. That's probably the better way to say it. Okay, so the first kind of strategy that I want to talk about the deck is with the 5-cost Emma Frost. So her ability is obviously you discard a mental card and then you can turn a plot twist that's face up, face down. And the number one target that I love to turn down, the plot twist I love to turn down with her effect is definitely Bamf, because you can attack, like let's say it's turn 5 and we have Professor X and Emma Frost out on our side of the field. Well, we can attack with, let's say, Professor X first. And then we can flip up Bamf so that they can't be, our X-Men characters can't be stunned while attacking. So let's say they have a cover fire that adds more defense than, or makes defense greater than our attack. We are not going to get stunned, so we don't really lose anything in that exchange, which is pretty good. And then you can attack with Emma, and then she won't be able to be stunned while she's attacking for the turn. And then, maybe before the recovery phase, you can discard a mental card, and we can turn Bamf face down into the resource row. So that's kind of one thing that I like to use with Emma is Bamf. And then the other card that I like to turn down too with her is you could turn down Turnabout too, so you can get like an extra attack and defense later in the game. And then you can also do Mutant Massacre, which is pretty cool because, you can remove their character from the game and they can't play the character of that name, but then you can flip it face down and maybe get a different character later in the game. So that's kind of something cool that I like to do. Or the last thing is that if you have a face up Homo Superior and you want to get another you activate it, get +4 attack, turn it face down, and then flip it up again to get another +4 attack. That's 8 attack that can, really deal some damage. So that's just kind of the things I wanted to talk about with the 5-cost Emma Frost. So the other thing that I want to talk about is I want to talk about the 6-drop Jean Grey Red for a moment. Let's say it's turn 6 and we have 6 face-up resources. We can discard a card for her effect and replace all 6 of those resources, and we get a bunch of face-down resources. So if we're lucky enough, we can hit 6 new plot twists face down, and then we can flip them up to do, get more advantage that way. Or the other thing you could do, let's say for an example, we have a Jean Grey out and we have Emma Frost out on turn 6. And then we go to turn 7 and we play Exodus and we activate Jean Grey's effect. And let's say, for example, one of the resources that we get down is Emma Frost. Well, what we could do with Exodus, if Emma Frost is adjacent to Exodus, you can replace it with his effect and then get the effect from Exodus on Emma Frost. So that's something that you can do with Jean Grey Red as well. And the other cool thing that she does is she just has flight and range, so she can attack whoever she wants. She's a 12/12. He and Jean Grey kind of have that small synergy together, so that's just something that I also wanted to note really quickly. So yeah, this is a pretty straightforward deck. There's nothing much more to talk about, and I think I'm going to end the video here. Also, let me know in the comment section some of the changes that you would make to this deck. Maybe you would take out Homo Superior for a better pump spell that I didn't cover, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Versus System content. And any feedback is welcomed and appreciated, both negative and positive. I'm always looking to improve ways to do my channel. So that will pretty much be it. Thank you everybody for watching, and I guess I'll see you next time.